Hello everyone, Kireth here, and welcome along to another Gran Turismo Sport video. And if you're an A, B or C driver in GT Sport, so you're racing in the daily races, that's your DR, and you feel like you're not getting any quicker, then I really hope this video is going to unlock some serious pace for you. Because I'm going to try and answer the big question, which is how to get faster at GT Sport. And I'm going to aim it at you guys and girls in that band. That's what I was for a long time. I'm now at 60k DR. At A+, racing against like Super GT, Roswell, Nathan, and trying to hold my own. So these tips have really worked for me, and I'm very happy to share them. And hopefully maybe to help some of you get up the rankings as well. Because at the moment, with the penalty system the way it is, the cleaner racing tends to be in the higher lobbies. So if you're stuck in the B lobbies, the quality of racing just won't be as good as you'll get in the A lobbies and even the A+ lobbies. So let's kick off with my first one, my first tip out of 4, and I've kept it at 4 here to keep them really simple, but they're very important. My first tip can save you a lot of time, and to be honest, it's something that a lot of drivers do, whether you're B, C, D, A or even A+. And it's something that I've coined brute force learning, and it's something you should really avoid. I used to do it a lot. What is brute force learning? Now, let me introduce the concept first of how it came about. This is an interview I had with Driver 61, Scott Mansell. He's a professional racing driver. He's racing IndyCar and all sorts of series like that. And we spoke about the process of learning and brute force learning. Here we go. Something I've always found is strange, and I know you guys will have a very unique opinion on this, is that I found it interesting that if you want to be someone who's good at maths, you have to read a textbook and learn the techniques. And if you want to be a lawyer, you have to go to law school and you doctor, medical school and all that kind of stuff. But with sim racing, I think a lot of people we don't actually learn, if that makes sense. We just go around lap after lap after lap.
Yeah.
And just almost trial and error.
It's like learning through brute force.
Yeah, exactly. It's it's a great brute force learning. So I think stuff like the Driver 61 videos on YouTube and the driving school and other people who do that, it's just a smarter way to do it. And I can definitely swear by that. I've definitely got a lot faster by actively trying to improve my technique. So there we go, brute force learning, the process of going around and around and around to improve your time. Now, brute force learning can get you very quick at a particular daily race in GT Sport, especially with the way that you pre-qualify. So you can go in time trial, stick up a ghost, get your delta up and just go around and around and around and around and get a very quick time. I used to do brute force learning and get top 30 times, top 50 times, top 100 times in the daily races. The problem with brute force learning is it doesn't actually improve your skill of driving. And what you're basically doing is using trial and error to get a good time. So sometimes you'll brake a bit later, sometimes you'll brake a bit earlier. You might not know why. You might not understand why you're going faster one lap and not the other. But just by doing enough laps, you will eventually get to the combination of braking in the right place and turning in at the right points on a lap, even if you don't fully understand why you're doing it. So although you can be successful using this technique, it's just going to take so much time. It's not going to allow you to progress as quickly as you might otherwise. So I really recommend, if you're someone that goes around with the ghost and the delta and just goes around and around and around, but you feel like you're not really understanding how you're hooking up a good lap, even if you manage to get one, then I recommend you just take a step back, look at some techniques online. Driver 61 is one of them, Tidgene's Driving School, another. So many resources on YouTube about the principles of driving. And if you can learn those principles, whether that's trail braking or even using your vision correctly, dealing with oversteer, dealing with understeer, you're just going to be able to do those lap times much quicker or achieve them much quicker, and that will enable you to progress quicker as well. So that's my first tip. Don't get stuck in the loop of brute force learning. It's a very comfortable place to be, but it's going to be very helpful if you're driving. You can stretch yourself, learn some techniques. You might be slower at the beginning. Trust me, it's what I've done, and I can definitely say it pays dividends. When you can just kind of go to a new track, apply those principles, and get up to speed rate. Right, let's go on to tip number 2. And this is I've cheated a little bit. I've put 2 tips here as tip number 2. And they're driving techniques. So if you do what I've suggested just now and get out of the brute force learning way of things and pick up driver techniques, these are 2 really important ones that I've found for my driving. And once I've understood them, I saved a lot of lap time pretty much at every track. And those tips are, try and understand when you're braking too late and getting on the power too early. Now this might sound counterintuitive because we all think when we start out, well, if you want to be fast, you've got to brake as late as possible, last of the late brakers. Because if you brake really late, you're carrying more speed into the corner. When other people are braking, you're going to be faster. And if you get on the power as soon as possible, where you're going to be, you know, accelerating the car, getting around the corner quicker, getting onto the straight quicker, and again you're going to be saving time compared to someone who gets on the throttle later. That conception is generally wrong. Especially in a game like GT Sport where there's ABS in sport mode, so there's nothing to gain by being on the limit of the brakes because you can't really lock up in sport mode anyway, no matter what car you're driving. And you may save a lot of time, and I mean a lot of time, by actually braking significantly earlier than you think. Hairpins are a really good example of this. I've got Dragon Trail Seaside on the screen at the moment, about to go into the hairpin at the bottom of the track. Braking really early at this hairpin can be very helpful because you actually carry the speed from this hairpin all the way through Dash Chicane to the last corner. So have a look here. If you brake too late here, you're not going to be able to actually have the exit speed through Dash Chicane and onto the straight after that. It's quite counterintuitive. So again, if you're going around and around and around and you're not sure why you're not getting faster, you can see other people you race with putting in fast times, just try braking a bit earlier. And similar with getting on the power too early. If you get on the power too early, you're just going to understeer around the corner. I know you'll notionally be on the power, you will actually be taking the tightest line around the corner because you'll just be understeering. This last corner at Seaside is a great example. You just have to be patient, have to coast through. Have a look at what the top drivers do with their throttle inputs. Have a look at how much they coast. So yes, 2 really important tips there bundled into one. And if you were to ask me, hey, I don't know why I'm losing all this time, how can I get faster? Those are the 2 tips I would give you straight away. Just check, are you braking too late? Because you might not see that as a mistake. You might think, yeah, I'm braking as late as possible. But actually, it's not about braking as late as possible. It's about maximising your exit speed a lot of the time. So that's half of the tips done. Hope you enjoyed the video so far. Do feel free to drop a like and a subscribe even, if you want to subscribe to the channel to get more videos like this. We're over 3,000 subscribers now, which is crazy. So thank you so much, everyone. Now we're going to go on to my next tip, tip number 3. And this tip is race with faster drivers. You can see him on screen here with Super GT. One of the fastest drivers I race against. He is so good when you race against him. Just so intelligent on the track. Very difficult to defend against. Probably the most difficult driver I've ever raced to defend against, actually. Super GT. But you're going to say to me, maybe, hang on, I can't race against fast drivers. I'm in the CBD lobbies. How can I race against fast drivers? And I always say, well, you don't just have to race in those daily race lobbies. You can race in the league. And for example, in the KRT community, the Discord that we have for this community, this channel, we have very fast drivers in the community racing against people that are BCD ranked. So people like Roswell, people like Nathan, people like Barry, you know, all A+ drivers racing against people that are BCD drivers. If you're one of those BCD drivers and you've enjoyed racing in the KRT community against mega fast drivers, do drop a comment, let people know whether you've enjoyed it or not, whether it's been helpful or not. Because I think that is a way, or the best way, to race against fast drivers. It's something I do in karting. If I go to a karting track and I'm quite slow, I don't just circulate by myself. I'll actually slow down, wait for a fast driver to go past and just follow them, because then you subconsciously follow their lines. And you subconsciously brake where they brake. Now in karting that's very useful, because often the fast drivers brake later than you, because in karting you have this fear of braking late because you don't want to kill yourself or crash. And so when you follow a fast driver, you instinctively have that comfort to brake later because you can see they've broken later and they haven't died. In GT Sport, it's kind of the same principle but the opposite way around. Often the fast drivers will brake a bit earlier, as we've spoken about. And you'll see that you'll brake earlier because you'll brake when you see their brake lights come on. And you'll go around the corner faster and something may click. So yes, definitely racing with fast drivers can be a massive shortcut, especially within the lower daily races, I should say. Now we're going to go on to my last tip here, tip number 4. Wanted to keep it short and sweet here. So my last tip is going to be stick to one track at a time. So if you're doing daily races, you've got options A, B and C. You might be tempted to hit all of them, or maybe hit B and C, alternate. And I would say if you're trying to get faster, if you're actually trying to improve your driving, just concentrate on one. These tracks are so difficult to master. There's no track I've mastered in GT Sport. I haven't got anywhere close. Even Monza, my best track, where I can take it to the likes of Super GT and esports drivers, I say I have about maybe 6.5 out of 10 track familiarity. So it takes so much time to actually learn these tracks. Focus your time on one track at a time. It's what I do these days in a daily race often. I'll just do C or do B, and it's definitely helping me to improve my driving. Because over the course of an evening, I can look and see, are my lap times getting better? You know, which corners do I need to work on? I can try and isolate them. I can try different things, braking later, braking sooner. Stuff like that. So yeah, that's my final tip. Try to stick to one track at a time, I should say. So to summarise, my 4 tips for you, especially if you're a B, C or D driver in GT Sport, and I really hope these are going to help you. Learn techniques instead of brute force learning, even if brute force learning is kind of working for you. Try and learn the techniques. Try and understand if you're braking too late or accelerating too early. If you're not quite getting lap time, have a look at those instances first, because they may save you the most time off the bat. Try and race with fast drivers if possible. You can join communities, join leagues for these, thinking on forums as well. And try to stick to one track at a time. So don't flit around the daily races. When you have an evening to race, stick to one track and try and really improve it, or improve a couple of corners at least. So those are my 4 tips to get faster at GT Sport, particularly for A, B, C, D drivers. I hope they help. If they do, let me know. Do feel free to drop a like and a subscribe as well if you enjoyed the video and you want to see more. But otherwise, thanks for joining us, and I'll see you next time.